Hello, hello, and welcome to our weekly wellness class. My name is Debbie Gordon. I will be your facilitator today as we talk about reclaiming your health through rest and managing stress today. And so give me a moment here as I bring up my PowerPoint and we will go forward. I have lots of good things to share with you today and certainly some personal experience of the importance of rest and sleep. So, all right, let's get going here. So this is our topic today, reclaiming your health by managing your rest and stress. And certainly that's one of our basic building blocks of wellness. And so we've talked about nutrition and digestion. We've talked about movement and metabolism. So we're working our way up doTERRA's wellness lifestyle model to move on to rest and managing stress. Now, I love the fact that we believe that everyone deserves to live a life of abundant health and that it starts with foundational principles in 6 areas of wellness. By focusing on these 6 areas and using doTERRA products to support you, you can realize your unique personal wellness goals and live a vibrant, energy-filled life. This is personal wellness realized. So it's really attending to this lifestyle model, this wellness lifestyle model that really helps us have an overall wellness foundation. I was sharing a story yesterday on our team call, or a couple of days ago on our team call, that Dr. Vaughn Watts, who is now a wellness advocate with doTERRA, and probably on our medical advisory board, though I'm not positive on that. I know he's been very involved the last little while, and he's spending a lot of time at doTERRA corporate. So I assume he is now part of our medical advisory board. But as a functional medicine doctor, he actually stepped back and sat back in his chair one day in his office thinking, I am not getting people well. And he realized that he was going at it with a symptom management, which on doTERRA's wellness lifestyle model is actually level number 5 or level number 6 even. And so he was approaching wellness concerns on a symptom management and realized he wasn't getting anybody well. And so he had an aha moment in his office that day and realized that he needed to build a wellness foundation. And so now when people go to his office, he actually takes in their information and lets them talk for a bit. And whatever they're coming in for, whatever health reasons they're coming in for, he actually puts that on the back table for about 3 to 4 months as he builds a wellness foundation. He, of course, does baseline labs before and after these first 3 to 4 months, but he takes in a symptom um, assessment and notes all of that, but then he puts that on the back burner and then he builds a wellness lifestyle at Wellness Foundation. And what he notices is that by the end of 3 to 4 months doing this, most of the symptoms are gone, if not all of them. And a lot of the health issues that they were struggling with are gone or significantly improved to where it's no longer really a problem. And then he can go in and do a little more targeted support for whatever ails them after that. And so I love that approach that when we take care of business with building a wellness foundation, we really do build a wellness lifestyle and we feel much better and can move away from symptom management and wellness concerns. And so by using this wellness lifestyle model as a foundation for our own wellness, we can keep ourselves and our families well and not necessarily need the crisis mode that the medical world offers us. Dr. Andrew Goff is an emergency room doctor in North Dakota, and he says the prevailing culture in healthcare today is largely reactive, often seeking help and support only when issues arise. In order to truly reclaim our health, we must be advocates of our own wellness, learning to pursue healthier lifestyle choices and natural solutions that leave us uninformed and equipped to live our fullest, healthiest lives. And so he basically substantiates what we just talked about. So today, as we talk about why do we need sleep, I want you to ask yourself, why do you need sleep? What benefit do you receive from sleeping? And what do you know about sleep? And I want you just to note your comments in the chat, or if you're watching the recording of this video, note them in the comments below. Why do you need sleep? And let me tell you that over the last almost 40 years, it's been 39 and a half years, I've been supporting women in childbirth. And I've gone without sleep. And over the last couple of years, I've become very much aware of how my going without sleep really does affect me adversely. This last couple of weeks, even, I had two births back to back. And out of 5 nights sleep, I lost 3 full nights of sleep in 5 days. And so let me tell you, my memory has been shot. I've had a lot of issues with dizziness. Now I am recuperating from a car accident, and the dizziness may or may not be related. But I've noticed that that dizziness came on after those two births, and I've had to really make sure I was well hydrated, and I hydrated well while I was attending those women. I really did take a couple gallons of water to those births so that I could be well hydrated. But I've learned that my memory goes when I don't get enough sleep. My ability to process is significantly reduced. And my ability to think clearly or focus and finish a task is significantly impaired when I've gone without sleep. So I want to actually bring up a video from our doTERRA's sleep training. And I think you'll find this really quite interesting. And so I'm going to play a little video here. Let me bring that up about the importance of sleep.
Good sleep is one of the most essential elements of a healthy life. Unfortunately, sleep is one of the most undervalued parts of modern schedules. In this busy world, it's all too easy to sacrifice sleep to other pursuits like work and family responsibilities, social time, and even technological distractions. You might be thinking, so what if I sacrifice a little sleep to other areas of my life? I'll feel a little sluggish or groggy the next day, but there's so much to do, accomplish, and experience instead of sleep a little longer. It may seem like a lot to spend a third of your life sleeping, but the consequences of cutting your shut-eye time short are a lot more significant than just feeling tired. Sleep deprivation has been linked to several health challenges. Research shows the time you spend sleeping is crucial to brain function, emotional well-being, and other vital health areas. During sleep, your body is hard at work, rebuilding and repairing itself. It's mending blood vessels, balancing hormones, and maintaining or even boosting the immune system. Your brain processes the events of the day and prepares itself for another day of learning. Yes, exercise, eating right, and finding healthy ways to deal with emotions and stress are all fundamental facets of health. But sleep is essential to the effectiveness and efficiency of every one of those habits. For example, sleep is when your muscles, tendons, and other tissues recover and repair from exercise, rebuilding stronger than before. Without enough sleep for your exercise recovery regimen, your risk of injury dramatically increases. And who hasn't been at their wits' end trying to resolve an argument or complete a frustrating task or project before bed, only to find in the morning you're laughing about what you were fighting about the night before, or are suddenly progressing much easier and faster on that task? When emotions are high or your brain is tired, it may seem like sleep is too simple to be the answer. But so often, a nightly reset makes all the difference. If you miss out on sleep, you don't give the brain ample time to refresh or clear away waste, ultimately making it more difficult to function properly the next day. Just as your mind processes information while you sleep, giving your body a break will help major systems function as they should. Sleep helps the body rest, rejuvenating cells as your muscles relax and you take slow, deep breaths. When you cut the rest process short, your body can't properly recuperate, causing problems in the long run. Sleep even impacts the apoptosis of cells, helping them adhere to a normal life cycle. Let's dive deeper into sleep and emotions for a minute. While you sleep, the brain is processing and consolidating the storage of your positive emotions from the day and dampening the storage of negative emotions. Sleep has links to your emotional and social intelligence. For example, someone who doesn't get adequate sleep is more likely to have issues recognizing other people's emotions and expressions. A 2022 study investigating the relationship between sleep quality, sleep duration, and emotional intelligence found people who routinely experienced higher quality and quantity of sleep tended to perceive themselves as having better emotional intelligence, such as doing well in social interactions, maintaining relationships, feeling positive, and controlling impulses. A 2015 study focused on children found their sleep patterns could directly impact behavior and academic performance. The amount of quality sleep you get can even impact body weight. A 2018 study suggests people who regularly sleep under 7 hours are more likely to have a higher body mass index, BMI, than those who sleep more. Plus, a 2022 clinical trial found overweight adults who increased their sleep duration took in fewer calories compared with the control group. To compensate for lack of energy, sleep deprivation may make you crave foods that are higher in sugar and fat because of higher calorie content. In the study, adults increased their sleep by 1.2 hours on average and took in around 270 fewer calories than the control group. Researchers suggested poor, insufficient sleep is associated with increased levels of a hormone called ghrelin and decreased levels of a hormone called leptin. Ghrelin makes you feel hungry, while leptin tells you you're full. Basically, when your brain is tired, it tells you to feed it more. Maybe because it thinks that it'll help you stay awake. You literally feel hungrier and overeat because your hormones are telling you your body needs it. Of course, there's also the simple fatigue that accompanies lack of sleep. It's extremely difficult to maintain the desire, motivation, or discipline to exercise and eat healthily when your brain and body are fatigued. A 2017 study looking into the short and long-term health consequences of sleep disruption found sleep is linked to several brain functions, including memory, performance, and cognition. Sleep helps your brain make new memories and recall old ones. Sleep disruption may affect memory processing and formation. Researchers found people's performance at work, school, and other settings can be affected by sleep disruption, including their focus, emotional reactivity, decision making, risk taking, behavior, and judgment. In fact, deterioration in mental and physiological performance starts to happen after only 16 hours of being awake. By affecting stress hormones, sleep disruption may also affect cognition. Sleep even helps clear out a toxic protein from your brain called beta amyloid, which may otherwise build up and interfere with cognitive function when you're older. As dramatic as it sounds, sleep deprivation can be fatal, as a host of bodily functions begin crashing. Fortunately, most of us probably aren't on the brink of death from lack of sleep. However, far too many people aren't thriving because of lack of sleep. Inadequate sleep over time raises your risk for chronic health problems. It affects how well you think, react, work, learn, and get along with others. It affects your hormones and reproductive system, heart and circulatory system, metabolism, emotional response, respiratory system, and immune system. Research suggests 1 night of 4 hours of sleep results in a 70% reduction in natural killer cells, an important cell line in your immune system. The good news is, because sleep has such a broad, comprehensive impact on health, adequate rest quantity and quality will support improvement in all those areas. The way you feel when you're awake is all about what's happening when you're not awake. During sleep, your body supports healthy brain function and maintains your physical health. Sleep plays a vital role in health and well-being throughout your life, so it's worth prioritizing.
I think that video is well done. And you can find that video on training.doterra.com. And it is, I believe, free to all the public and including those that are wholesale customers with doTERRA. So training at doTERRA.com. Now, I find that really interesting. And I want you to just put in the comments um, what you gleaned from that video. What was your big take home personally? I'll be really honest with you that my big take home has been a couple of years ago, actually. My personal doula and doula mentor died about this time, a couple of years ago. And before she died, she had supported over 3,000 women in birth over the years, and probably more than that, actually, as a labor and delivery nurse. But as a doula, she had supported over 3,000 women in birth. And so she went without sleep a great deal. And those last several months of her life, she was institutionalized for dementia. And I was really stricken by that and the role that sleep plays in our memory and our ability to function overall. And I've been thinking really in tune, really a lot about the importance of sleep over these last couple of years since Claire died. Because I used to kind of take on the adage you can sleep when you die. And maybe you can relate with that, or maybe you know somebody like that. You can sleep when you die. And the reality is, the lack of sleep can actually kill us. On Sunday this last week, I had a neighbor and friend actually talking about being trained in the Air Force of as a prisoner of war and being sleep deprived and being put in a box that was much smaller than her body normally fits in. She's over 6 feet tall. She's a big girl and um, having to hang out there for some time and how it literally messed with their brain function and their mind, right? And certainly what was going on in their world. And so as prisoners, as military personnel, they actually are trained for prison of war possibilities. And one of those oftentimes strategies that prisoners of war undergo is sleep deprivation. They're not allowed to sleep. And after a while, it makes them literally feel like they're going crazy. And so sleep does matter, and what we do with our sleep is a real factor. I've noticed that when I miss a night's sleep or two in a row or more, that my immune system is affected. And so I have to really guard myself and practice prevention when I'm attending births so that I do not get sick. Because quite frankly, as a birth attendant, as a doula, and birth attendant, I do not have time to get sick. I do not want to expose my clients or newborn babies to that issue. And so, at any rate, it's really important that we get the sleep that we need and that we can actually feel good. So, hopefully, you received a lot of information about sleep there. So, let's go back to my slides here for just a moment and talk a little bit more. When we take a look at how much sleep do we actually need? We know that newborn babies sleep most of the day, and they need about 16 to 20 hours a day, and most newborn babies do sleep that much. I remember when we first adopted our oldest son, he did not sleep more than 20 minutes at a time. And now that he's older, approaching 29 this year, he's got a wife that needs a lot of sleep, and so he is sleeping more. When he was probably mid 20s, I noticed that it felt like he was trying to catch up with all those years of not sleeping. He struggled with ADHD and he could not shut his brain off at night. And this was well before we found doTERRA. And so he would oftentimes spend the hours of the night in reading, and he would read dictionaries and encyclopedias from cover to cover. He's a well versed young man, and he has a lot of information stuffed in that brain of his, but he missed out on sleep. And so we know that 1-year-old children need about 12 hours a day. School-age children need 10 to 11 hours a day. Adolescents, 8 to 10, and adults on average, 7 to 9. Now, on my sheet here, it says 7 to 8. And as we get older, over the age of 65, for some reason, we could do away with another hour of sleep there. As we talk 7 to 9, we could do 7 to 8 or even 6 to 7 hours as an adult over the age of 65. But I'm not sure it serves us well in regards to what we just learned on this video. And so from a young age, as parents, as we bring home newborn babies, we are sleep deprived from the get-go, right? And sometimes we are able to function, but probably not up to par until we get back to sleeping better or really work at getting the sleep our bodies need, the rest our bodies need in between taking care of that little baby. And as we add more children to our family, that goes away as well. And so it's a really big understanding of how does our body respond? How much sleep do we need individually? And creating habits and patterns that help both us and our children get back to sleep. And so as we work to turn that baby schedule over to a day and a night routine, as we work with school age children, a day and a night routine and a bedtime routine, and certainly getting into bed at a decent hour, that helps us get to bed. But all too often, we stay up later to quote unquote get everything done that needed to be done after our children are in bed. And sometimes that doesn't serve us very well. And so I'm going to invite you to just take a self inventory of your sleep patterns and see what you need to do to improve them. Now, something that's really quite interesting to me, a lot of people use caffeinated products or stimulants to stay awake because they are tired, or they wake tired, or they don't get enough sleep. They're tired and they use stimulants such as caffeine to get enough sleep. Now, the interesting thing about that is that caffeine does not wake us up. Caffeine actually blocks a hormone called adenosine that makes us sleepy. And as the day goes on, our bodies produce more and more adenosine, and it makes us sleepy so that we are ready to go to bed at night. But the caffeine interferes with the production of adenosine and in that way keeps us awake. But we oftentimes have that sluggishness the next day or every day thereafter because we aren't producing adenosine to make us tired. And so we wake feeling groggy, like we did not get adequate sleep. And so I want you to just recognize that caffeine's not the answer, and there's a lot better options than caffeine with its that aren't going to affect that hormone. Okay. Some things we can do to really improve our sleep would be to create a consistent sleep schedule. Now, I know, and I have shared with my boys, and I turn 60 next week, and I'm still raising teenage boys that my youngest came in after midnight last night, and I don't sleep well when my children aren't home. I wish I could turn that around, but that is just my circumstance, and maybe you can relate with that. But I really appreciate it when my boys are home early enough to where I can crawl in bed before 10:30. I have teased them that once I am an empty nester, my bedtime will be 9 or 9:30 and don't call me after that. And so I know that when I go to bed earlier, I feel better. And I do know that when I'm pushing myself to the max, we're going to talk about that a little bit later today, but when I'm pushing myself to the max, I I push out cortisol from my adrenal glands, and that keeps me awake longer. And so I'll hit my second wind, my third wind, my fourth wind, my fifth wind, etc. And maybe you can relate to that as well. The longer I stay up, the more I push out the cortisol, and that keeps me awake, and then I can't fall asleep. And so it's really important to create a consistent sleep schedule and adjust ourselves gradually as we're learning how to go to bed earlier. And I'm going to say wake up earlier and then take power naps as needed, but no longer than 20 minutes at a time, because we find that when people sleep for 2 or 3 hours during the day, then they don't want to go to sleep at night. And that is my personal experience. That when I take a nap during the day, it keeps me up so that I'm not ready to go to sleep before 11 or midnight. And so power naps are okay. But when we take a long nap during the day, it really does mess with our ability to fall asleep later at night. Another thing we can do is to limit our screen time. Now, this is pretty commonly known. Everybody knows that when we're using screens, our phones, our iPads, our computers, even watching TV or going to a movie late at night, that blue light actually inhibits our ability to fall asleep. It disrupts the melatonin production, and then we can't fall asleep. And so this is a huge importance, is to put away the electronics well before you're planning on going to bed. Now, different sources talk about 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 2 hours. I have one of my clients that just birthed, they wear red glasses. Is that the proper term? I think it is. About 6:30 at night, they put on their red glasses and they really put away their electronic devices out of that time so it doesn't mess with their melatonin production. And as we did that birth, we were up all night for a couple of nights, and they had red lights on and salt lamps going and very dim lighting. And so, quite frankly, it made us all kind of sleepy, wanting to go to sleep, and we were not done getting that baby here. So, um, keep that in mind. Another thing to consider is we know that when we exercise regularly, preferably early in the day, we actually sleep better at night. What is the correlation of early in the day versus exercising before bed? When we exercise at nighttime, it really messes with our ability to fall asleep. And I see that all the time with my boys. My 21-year-old will go out to the gym long about 7 to 9 o'clock at night, or go play pickleball till midnight. And then he comes home and he's hungry. So he wants to eat. And we know that all of that interrupts our ability to fall asleep. And so the best idea is that we exercise daily, but that we make that part of our morning routine rather than our nighttime routine. We find that that really helps us sleep much better. And then, of course, I'm gonna go back there. Of course, avoid the stimulants. The caffeine, nicotine, alcohol really disrupt our sleep. And I did some research on that some time ago. So another thing we can do is optimize our bedroom environment. Make our bedroom the place we go to sleep, and keep the TVs out of our bedroom. Keep the electronics out of our bedroom. Keep the temperature at a good temperature. Now, this is something that I struggle with a little bit. I do need darkness to sleep. And we do have window blinds in each of our room that create a darkness. But once in a while, if we don't close that blind well, there'll be a seepage of light that will come through, whether it be during the day or in the early hours of the morning, during the summertime, for instance, that wake me up. So when the sun is up, I'm awake. Most of the time, I have a really hard time sleeping when the sun is up. So creating a dark room is really helpful. Wearing a sleep mask is really, really helpful to create a darkness. I laid down on my bed on Sunday for a rest, and I didn't want to sleep more than about 20 minutes, and I actually set a timer for 20 minutes on my phone. But I did grab a dark pillow to put in front of my eyes because I love to take a nap with the blinds open and the sunshine coming in and warming my body. That's just kind of crazy, right? Because I just said you can't sleep without darkness, and I didn't want to sleep for a long time. I just wanted to close my eyes and rest for about a 20-minute period. And so um, that's really helpful. So creating darkness, whether it be with a sleep mask or blinds or blackout blinds, whatever we need to do to create more darkness in our room is helpful. Now, temperature, I've done a lot of studies on this temperature thing, and the recommendation is that we keep our rooms actually cooler at night. And most people sleep better with a bedroom temperature of about 60 to 65 degrees. I'll be really frank with you, I do not. If I am cold, I cannot get to sleep. And I sit there in bed shivering, 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 and it really works out the cortisol levels and I cannot get to sleep. So I have to be warm. And so I'm not sure that works for my body. Maybe it's supposed to work for my body, and maybe I need to recalibrate my temperature thermostat control. But I do find that I personally cannot sleep if my room is 65 degrees. I need it a little warmer than that. And quite frankly, I really like it about 75 degrees. So that's a little warm for most people, but I don't sleep well when my room is really cold. Minimizing noise is really important to me. We tried really hard when we did our remodel in our home to make sure our walls and our floors were better insulated because when my boys are awake in the basement and they're shutting doors or going in and out of the bathroom or running the TV or visiting with friends, I do not sleep. And I'm very well known to wear earplugs when I go to bed. And my husband snores, I want to wear earplugs, but I still am a very light sleeper and I still hear every movement or sound it feels like to me. And so minimizing our noise with earplugs or white noise machines can be very, very helpful. And then making sure we have a comfortable bed to sleep on and comfortable pillows creates a restful environment. Now, when we're forking out the adrenaline or the cortisol levels, I have found personally that the adaptive system is really, really helpful. And I love the adaptive system. I use all three of these products, and I especially love the adaptive capsules. I actually have found that when I take the capsules regularly, morning and night, if not morning, noon, and night, I actually do much better in not forking out the cortisol levels and not feeling stressed and being more focused and alert and attentive and productive during the course of my day. So I do know that the adaptive capsules work really well for my brain to stop the monkey brain so that I can focus and think clearly. And I know that if I'm feeling anxious or anybody's feeling anxious, this adaptive capsule is a really great help so that we don't fork out the cortisol levels and interrupt our ability to form that adenosine and also to sleep much better. Okay. So the adaptive oil, I love diffusing the adaptive oil, and I actually just gave that last doula client of mine a sample of adaptive last night as I did a postpartum birth review with them last night. And I love how the adaptive can be really calming when we're feeling anxiousness. This young mama, first baby in her late 30s, and she's finding that the baby is sleeping well. The baby's only waking, and the baby's now let's see, what is today? Wednesday. So the baby's now almost 10 days old, 9 or 10 days old. And the baby's sleeping well, only waking once or twice a night, which is remarkable for a newborn baby, right? And so she cluster feeds at night. So she gets all her breastfeedings in during the course of the day. Mom is breastfeeding her at least 13 times a day. And so she's getting all her feedings in and she's sleeping well at night. But mama is always worried about baby. And so I gave her a sample of adaptive. Now I find that a drop or two of adaptive in the palms of your hands, breathing in deeply or diffusing them or applying the adaptive roller to your pulse points, the back of your neck, over your spine, the bottoms of your feet is really helpful to calm us down so that we don't feel those anxious feelings. Here's what's in the adaptive blend. We have lavender, magnolia, neroli, wild orange, spearmint, rosemary, and copaiba. And that is a beautiful combination of oils. It smells wonderful. And this was one oil that when I brought home, adapted from convention, everybody in my family loved it. All my boys, my husband loved it. And that was completely and utterly unheard of. There wasn't an oil on the planet that everybody loved. And this one, the adaptive, everybody liked this one, which was remarkable. And I diffused it a lot at first. Now I like to diffuse adaptive. I actually have a bottle that I just opened yesterday that I took up to my diffuser in my living room to just create a calming environment. And then I also love to sleep with this, but I do use all three of those products. So there's lots of ways to use adaptive. I mentioned that. I love to take a bath with adaptive in the Epsom salt, adding a few drops of adaptive to the Epsom salts and swishing that through my bath water. Remember that when you're using essential oils in the bath, you want to add them to the Epsom salt rather than just drip them in the water because water and essential oils do not mix and they'll be floating on top of the water and they can be actually quite irritating to the skin if they're just floating on top of the water. But if you add those essential oils to the Epsom salts, swish it through the water, they're evenly dispersed, and then you really feel the entire benefit throughout your entire body. And so adding it to lotion, using it as a perfume, diffusing it is all really helpful in using adaptive. And then these adaptive capsules, like I said, I find really, really great benefits from using these on a regular basis and just making it part of my everyday supplementation. I find that it reduces my stress, helps me be more focused and clear thinking, and I have get a whole lot more done. So, okay, I think we've talked about that enough. Okay, so just take a screenshot if you'd like about these diffuser blends using the adaptive blend. But some fun combinations. Adaptive and citrus bliss is a great combination. Adaptive and bergamot, and so adaptive and any of your citrus oils are a great combination. But consider playing around with that soft and spicy with the adaptive and one drop of cinnamon. Kind of an interesting combination. I think you'll really like that. I had a mama, actually a grandmother, messaged me, texted me this morning that said she was dropping her granddaughter off to the mission training center to start her mission, her 18-month mission. And she wanted to give her some oils that would help calm down her anxious feelings. And so I recommended adaptive and I recommended balance. And she asked me if she could mix them together. Now, I'm fine to mix whatever I want together in a diffuser, but when I have blended oils, I like to keep them separate because the blends are perfect as they are. You can mix them if you want, but my recommendation is to keep that balance and adaptive separate. And so that's what I recommended to her. But you could certainly mix them together if you wanted. But in the diffuser, I don't care what you mix together. And I very often will mix blends together in the diffuser. Here's a great calming spray. 1.5 ounces of distilled water, 1.5 ounces of witch hazel in a 4-ounce bottle, and then adding 10 to 15 drops of adaptive. That is a great calming spray. You could even use it as a linen spray if you wanted before you crawled into bed at night. Um, and I love doTERRA's mister bottles when I'm making those kinds of things because they have such a fine mist that it doesn't leave the bed sheets wet. And so here's an adaptive body wash. You can take an 8-ounce pump bottle and add a half a cup of Castile soap, unscented Castile soap, 4 tablespoons of vegetable glycerin, 3 tablespoons of fractionated coconut oil, and 10 to 15 drops of the adaptive essential oil. That's going to be a great body wash. And I love that vegetable glycerin and the fractionated coconut oil on my skin. That's a great, great combination. Now, we also have, of course, the Serenity Sleep System, and doTERRA has done extensive research on the Serenity Sleep System. That's why we have the products we have today. And this new Serenity Stick is really, truly one of my best friends. I absolutely love the Serenity products. Every night I'm actually right now using a combination of Serenity with additional cedarwood and vetiver, about equal parts or so in my diffuser. And I'm rubbing that on my forehead, down over my temples, over the back of my neck, on my spine, and the bottoms of my feet to help me sleep better. I've been in a real sleep deprivation um, time in my life since a car accident, and then of course adding the birth on top of that. And so I'm really, really, truly grateful for the Serenity sleep system. And I love not just one of those products, but all of them together. I take a couple of the Serenity capsules with an adaptive capsule and a Copaiba at nighttime before I crawl in bed. And the Serenity stick, I kind of bathe in it. I absolutely love the Serenity stick with the valerian root. Before I found essential oils, I was using a lot of herbal products, a lot of homeopathics, but when I packed my own vegetable capsules, I actually use the valerian root to help me sleep and relax at night. And so I have been waiting for the valerian for a long, long time with doTERRA. And I don't know that they will ever sell the valerian oil because it's very, 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 very potent. If we ever had a valerian, it would be kind of like our rose touch. We'd probably have a valerian touch roller bottle rather than straight valerian oil because it is so very, very potent. And so the Serenity stick, I love to rub it across from collarbone to collarbone. I love to rub it over my head, my forehead, my temples, the back of my neck, over my spine. I love to roll the Serenity stick over my pulse points, my wrists, even my elbows and the bottoms of my feet. Absolutely. I kind of bathe. My husband kind of chuckles every night when I put on the sleep system, but I really do love this sleep system. And I really believe that all three of these products used together, the bundle of them, creates a much easier time to fall asleep, to stay asleep, to go back to sleep if we should be aroused in the night for some reason. Now, here's the oils that are in the Serenity Essential Oil Blend. The oils in the Serenity capsules are not the same. We have some oils in the Serenity capsules that are not or rather we have oils in the Serenity Essential Oil Blend that are not in the capsules because many of these cannot be taken internally. We can use the Ylang Ylang, Roman chamomile, lavender, vetiver internally, marjoram internally, even the vanilla absolute would be okay internally. But these others, the Ho wood, the Hawaiian sandalwood, the cedarwood are not recommended for internal use. And so the Serenity Oil Blend is really a combination of many different oils that if you were to take any one of these individually and separately, it would help you come to a state of calmness and be able to sleep better. But the combination of them makes this a huge bang for your buck, and I absolutely love this. So here's a three-step system. Diffuse the Serenity. You can apply that topically if you want. Apply the Serenity stick topically, and then take, of course, the Serenity capsules before bed. Now, very often I will get asked, can I take the Serenity capsules during the day? If I have somebody that's struggling with anxious feelings, the answer is absolutely yes. And you could combine the Serenity capsules with the adaptive capsules during the day or before bed in preparation for calming and also to helping you sleep better through the night. So I want you to ask yourself a question. What aspects of your life impact your sleep? When do you put your electronics away? Do you have a consistent sleep schedule? Do you have any little ones that disrupt your sleep at night? Are you having to use stimulants to stay awake and get done during the day what you have to get done? Are you feeling a lot of stress where you cannot seem to relax and go to sleep? Now, this guy right here might look something like me some nights. I don't know that I toss and turn as he's tossing and turning. Very often I will lay there quietly, unable to go to sleep, and it's frustrating as heck. And so I encourage you to just take a self-evaluation and find out where do you need to work in your sleep hygiene. And so, of course, be consistent, set the mood, make sure your room is conducive to sleeping. Set your screens, turn your screens off, plan. Just set a time. Now, my husband is kind of funny. We laughed about it on Sunday when his phone gave that little ding, that little alarm that says it's time to get ready for bed. And it gave him that little ding at about 6:15 at night. And we were chuckling. He was asleep on the couch already, just sitting up on the couch. If my husband stops and sits down on the couch, he's going to fall asleep. And here he was sitting on the couch, asleep, napping, and off goes his alarm about 6:15 at night. And we all just chuckled in the kitchen as we were playing a card game. The fact that his alarm seems to be going off sooner and sooner and sooner. And I'm not sure that he knew that, or maybe he had an alarm set for something else with the same ringtone as his sleepy bedtime routine. But my husband's actually really good. When that alarm goes off at night, he does make his way to the bedroom and begin his nighttime, bedtime, sleep hygiene routine. And so that's a really important thing. So avoid the screens, get your activity in earlier in the day rather than late at night. Now we did last night, we walked the dog at 10:30. I had a postpartum review with one of my birthing clients and I was late getting home. We were late eating. I was late walking the dog, late getting to bed. And so there's a whole bunch of things that usually play into my not getting to bed. And so as I work to create a consistent bedtime routine, I'm going to have better results. Of course, limit your use of stimulants. Don't eat just before bed, which we did last night. Usually we don't, but we certainly did last night. And then, of course, use your essential oils. One thing I want to say about eating late at night that the video brought up is the later we stay up, the more likely we are to snack before we go to sleep, the more likely we are to take in more calories, and the more likely we are to have that increased BMI that she talked about on that video. So I do know that when I mess up my routine and I don't get to bed on time or I don't have dinner at a consistent hour, that I do have a harder time sleeping at night. And interestingly enough, I ate before bed and my continuous glucose monitor alarm went off twice during the night with blood sugars in the 50s. So when I eat later at night, I have that spike and that drop, and that alarming certainly keeps me up. So lots of ways to use the Serenity, from diffusing to a couple drops in your hand, to making a room spray like we did with the adaptive, to including it in your bath. I do love to use Serenity or lavender in the dryer balls when I'm doing my laundry. But there's lots of ways to use the Serenity stick. And then I shared with you how I use the Serenity stick. And I invite you to put in the chat or put in the comments below how you have used the Serenity products, or if you are not familiar with them, how you can get them. Just points in there that you're interested to know how you can get these Serenity products, because they are truly, I'm going to say a godsend. They are just so, so helpful in improving my quality of sleep. And I got to be honest with you, the adaptive capsules and the Serenity capsules, those are two of my very favorite products when it comes to helping me be more productive during the day and helping me sleep better at night. And so in the Serenity capsules, we have the lavender essential oil, the L-theanine that really works to support our melatonin levels, the lemon balm, which is Melissa oil, passion flower, tart cherry, and Roman chamomile. Now we know that tart cherry also supports the production of melatonin, which helps us sleep better at night. And so very important that we're reaching for natural solutions instead of medications that just shut off our sleeping. I've used sleep medications. When I was pregnant with my fourth boy, I struggled immensely with the inability to go to sleep. And I found that the sleeping pills my doctor gave me just made me loopy. I felt them coming on. I knew I had to be in bed when I took them. So I took them just before I crawled in bed. Within about 20 to 30 minutes, I could feel that incredible shutdown of my brain. But I would wake in the morning feeling groggy and not feeling rested and feeling tired. And so I used those for about a week during Benjamin's pregnancy. It was like, I'm not doing this any longer, because it just did not help me. It did help me get to sleep, but it was an unnatural sleep, and I certainly did not wake feeling rested. And so take a screenshot of this or grab this QR code, because this will take you to our sleep ebook. That's really a fabulous help. It's several pages long and it's got some really great tips and suggestions with developing a bedtime hygiene sleep routine, what you can do to help yourself sleep better, creating habits, developing a bedroom environment that supports sleep, etc. And then, of course, it goes through the oils that we've been talking about. So another thing that I really love is this thing called Shinrin-yoku. And in the Japanese culture, they go to the mountains or they use aromas that help them as if they were in mountains. And doTERRA has done that as well. A Japanese proverb: mountains are not esteemed because they are high, but because they have trees. And we know that the aromas of the essential oils that the trees put off is very helpful. And by nature, just getting out in nature and putting aside those electronic devices and letting us just experience the sounds and the sights and the smells and even the taste of nature is really, really helpful. But doTERRA came up with this blend Shinrin Yoku, I think it was last year, it might have been 2 years ago, and I absolutely love using this for as part of my diffusing around bedtime or in my bedroom. Very often, this is actually in my bathroom, and very often I will actually diffuse. In fact, I do have it in a mist diffuser in my bathroom going off all the time that's plugged in, and it's diffusing Shinrin-yoku. I love this calming blend. Now, this is an interesting blend, and in the ingredients of the Shinrin-yoku, I want you to notice what's in there. We have lemon, patchouli, magnolia, Siberian fir, cypress, cardamom, hinoki, lavender, grapefruit, geranium, lemon, and petitgrain. An interesting combination. So they've taken the aromas that we typically smell in the forest and looked at the chemistry of those aromas and then put them together in this Shinrin-yoku blend. And it is really a beautiful, yummy, I'm just going to say yummy because I love the smell of this. This is our forest bathing blend, and it is really a yummy blend to diffuse. My husband really likes this. In fact, sometimes he has asked for me, "Are you diffusing Shinrin-yoku?" Or and usually when he asks the questions, "Are you diffusing Shinrin-yoku?" I'm probably not, and he's basically asking me, "Would you diffuse Shinrin-yoku?" So sometimes he'll ask me, "What are you putting in the diffuser?" And he'll ask for this Shinrin-yoku. I really like this. And so it's a beautiful combination of oils. Now here's the science behind the Shinrin-yoku. It's formulated with essential oils rich in terpenes that have been attributed to positive effects of forest bathing. Contains important phyto phytoncides. I thought that was something different, including limonene, alpha-pinene, and beta-pinene. The exposure to green space has been shown to promote calm and relaxation. And I got to be honest with you, I love going to the mountains, but it's especially important when I can just disconnect from everything and leave behind my phone and anything to do with electronics so that I can really truly enjoy all the sights and sounds and smells of being in the forest or being in the mountains. The lemon, magnolia leaf, Siberian fir, patchouli, and essential oils containing limonene, linalool, which is very calming, alpha-pinene have been studied to promote calmness and positively affect the mood. So there's definite science behind the Shinrin-yoku blend that I think is very interesting. And I love how doTERRA does the research and in their development of new products and new essential oil blends. So this one is one, like I said, diffuse it. I love the touch blend where I can actually wear it as a personal perfume and then just enjoy it. Shinrin-yoku is a beautiful blend. Okay. Nice grounding effect. Again, this is something you can add to your bath, and I've done that. I love it in my bath as well. There's so many oils that are really relaxing and helpful in the bath. Just keep that in your mind. In fact, I have kind of a doctor's order right now to take 2 baths a week because I don't usually give myself that time to do that. And I'm finding that I really do need to pay attention to self-care and take some more time to chill and calm my body down so that I can recuperate and recover and sleep much better. Take a screenshot of these diffuser blends. This forest retreat, again, we're just taking the Shinrin-yoku, adding some cedarwood, lavender, and bergamot. And I love bergamot. Bergamot is for all things stress. And if it's a sickness that comes on because of stress, bergamot is really great for that. But if it's actually, like restless leg syndrome, I love using bergamot. The other night I was struggling to get to sleep after I had taken a bath even, and I had had some really calming oils in the bath and I still crawled in bed. And it wasn't within 20 minutes that I was really struggling with restless leg. And I grabbed my Serenity stick with the valerian root and applied that to my legs because it was right there by my bedside. I did not have my Shinrin-yoku right by my bedside, but these are a great combination of diffuser blend oils to help you sleep more soundly. And so here's a balancing harmony, 3 drops each of Shinrin-yoku and geranium, 2 drops of lemon, and 1 drop of lavender. So you'll see that in all of these diffuser blends, you're going to find the Shinrin-yoku, you're going to find some oils that really help us kind of chill. Even the Morning Serenity with Shinrin-yoku, peppermint, wild orange, and eucalyptus. That one's really interesting to me because very often I will actually diffuse wild orange at night in conjunction with some of these other oils we've talked about today, because wild orange is the oil of abundance and it helps me think, feel and experience that I really did do my best. I may not have gotten everything done on my list, my to-do list, but I can go to bed feeling gratitude and feeling grateful that I did get things done. And Wild Orange really helps me do that. So I love that. So take a screenshot of these diffuser blends. Really helpful. combinations. Okay, and I think that's all I have for you today. So I'm going to stop my share and let those of you who are joining us today speak up and share. So unmute yourself if you will. Yeah, Janelle, you asked, what if I take a nap and I don't wake up for a few hours? Did you really need the sleep? And the answer to that is probably yes, you probably did need the sleep. And so just know that if that affects your ability to fall asleep at night, that you'll just correct that the next time you go to nap, right? So I almost always, when I lay down for a nap, almost always I will set a timer. And sometimes I'll regret setting a timer, I'll be honest with you. But I almost always set a timer so that I don't sleep more than about 30 minutes. Any other comments, Janelle? Has this been helpful for you today?
Yeah, I liked when she said, when you're really tired and you try to use something to, keep you awake. And she said about the food. And I've been doing that. Like I've been going towards food and unhealthy food. So I'm like, oh, I really need it. Like I'm just dying, trying to stay away from kids. And so I grab unhealthy stuff and then
Yeah.
like I regret it later, but you are drawn to that.
Yeah, we are drawn to that. And a product that I've really, really loved is the new formulation of the Mito 2 Max. So when and I have been struggling the last few months in feeling fatigue throughout the day. And there's probably 3 capsules left in this bottle. And my husband's really fallen in love with this product as well. He actually took a partial bottle to work yesterday. So the new formulation of the Mito Max with that PQQ and whatever the other ingredient that they added has been a real great help. So if you're needing a stimulant to stay awake, or you think you are needing a stimulant to stay awake, reach for this Mito Max. I typically take 2 at a time, um, and I feel it was kicking in about 20 minutes. And
Okay.
so I find that when you're taking the capsules internally, for that capsule to open up and for your body to feel the effects of that, it's usually about 20 to 30 minutes. And I do feel it taking effect in about 20 minutes. And so I'm trying to get my son that's seriously hooked on caffeine on the Mida 2 Max. And he doesn't listen to his mama much anymore, but I'm trying to get him to move away from the caffeine products and move towards the Mida 2 Max. So yeah, that sleep training is really great. It's if you do it start to finish without any interruptions, it will take you just over an hour to do all of that. But I love the fact that they have all of it written out, so you could download it and study it later or share it with friends. And anything doTERRA has produced, the beautiful thing about that is doTERRA has given us permission to reshare it, whether it be on social media, even if we're quoting them, they're totally fine with us resharing it. And so they have given us permission to what we might think copyright is not an issue with doTERRA. As we are wellness advocates and we have permission, or even wholesale customers, we have permission to share what doTERRA is sharing with us, with the world. And so get it out there. You're welcome to go into that training.doterra.com and find that sleep training and take it. And then you're welcome to copy and download anything you want and reshare it. So take advantage of that. There's some really, really great stuff there.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope this has been helpful. And for those who watch the recording, post your comments below. Let me know if this has been helpful. Let me know what your experience with sleep or the lack thereof is. And let me know if some of these suggestions help you. So take care now and have a great day. Bye-bye.